And our second feature poet today, David Yezzi. And David, you wanted to read from the standing. He wants to read standing. All right. So we're going to introduce standing. David Yezzi is the author of 6 collections of poetry, most recently Birds of the Air and Black Sea, both from Carnegie Mellon. I saw Black Sea is available for sale over here. I highly recommend you pick up a copy. I'm sure he would be happy to sign it for you. David's verse play Schnauzer was produced by the Baltimore Poets Theater in 2017, and it was subsequently published in 2019. David edits the Hopkins Review here in Baltimore. He's also associate professor and department chair of the writing seminars at Johns Hopkins University. I first became aware of David's work in 2012 on a submission to Smartish Pace. And we loved the submission. Tracy read that as well. And we subsequently published his work, and I've been reading his work ever since. Had the good fortune to get to know him better when he moved to Baltimore more recently. As anyone who knows David is brilliant and persistent, and these qualities come through in his poetry. While often writing in various forms, as a reader or as a listener here today, you'll find, or maybe you won't find, but I find you're not distracted by the forms unless it is about the form in the way that you hear it. Otherwise, David, steps very lightly and carefully with his words through various forms. There's the occasional gentle rhyme, his focus on the local and on the details of life that make sense of a larger world. Now watch, he'll read poems that have nothing to do with anything I just said. And at times he's quietly humorous, though sometimes overt. We'll see what happens today, but always witty. With that, I give you David Yezzi.
B-sides. I am a very persistent poet, as Stefan rightly said. Thank you to Stefan, a very brilliant editor and generous friend, and to Emma Snyder, the genius founder of Bird in Hand and proprietor of the Ivy Bookshop, the best bookstore in Baltimore. A couple of poems. As I say, I'm a persistent poet. I'm gonna read poems until you like them. This first one, it's sort of, I think this is a typical shtick of comedians. Comedians like to complain about stuff that bothers them, Sebastian Maniscalco, I think, has a whole show on just, stuff that bothers me, and this is my poem about stuff that bothers me. It's called Lazy. I don't say things I don't want to say, or chew the fat with fat cats just because. With favor givers who want favors back, I tend to pass on going for the ask. I send instead a series of regrets, slip the winding snares that people lay. The unruffledness I feel as a result, the lank repose, the psychic field of rye swayed in wavy air is my respite among the chivalry of clanging egos on the packed commuter train again tonight. Sapping and demeaning. It takes a lot to get from bed to work and back to bed. I barely go an hour before I'm caught wincing at the way that woman laughs. Or he keeps clucking at his magazine. And my annoyance fills me with annoyance. It's laziness that lets them seem unreal. A radio with in and out reception blaring like hell when it finally hits a station. The song that's on is not the one I'd hoped for, so I wait distractedly for what comes next. going to read some poems about kids, one about my kid and then some other kids. This first one displays an unseemly affection for my own offspring. And I realize that in doing this, I'm tempting fate in some way. You know, Ben Jonson has a really heartbreaking elegy to his son who died at the age of 7. And I think the line is something like, "My sin was too much love of thee. My sin was too much care of thee, loved boy," I think, right? So he just feels like maybe it was my fault, I just loved you too much. I tempted fate. So this is a little bit about what this is. Also because I had written poems for my other kids, and my one son, Hal, was sort of getting resentful. So this was for him. It's called Ex Machina, like Deus Ex Machina, right? The God that comes out of the machine to fix something. In this case, the Ex Machina, the Machina is a bicycle, perhaps, or something else, we'll see. Ex Machina. I've seen a God. Seated on the patio, a little drunk, I'm listening to Dylan, classic era, on vinyl, mono, Highway 61. Geezer. I'm tired, past the halfway, no longer hiding American spirits from the kids. So it's 20 minutes till we have to leave the house for a potluck with some truly lovely, sweetly boring folks whose kids are friends with ours, the twins. One boy texts to say he'll meet us there. The other's on his way back from the park, and I'm waiting for him. Cold Negroni, music blaring. I figure he'll be late as usual. Then, in the low light of fall at 6 o'clock, I look out on the street over the wilted tree, some species of deciduous something or other, as he streaks by on his bicycle, fast, downhill, hair flying, Hermes, a blur, a streak of white jersey, my son, homing in the gloaming and on time. He's there, then past, but I saw him, strapping, bold, coasting in air, armored with teenage sweep and pride against contingency and pain, thank God. Thank God, I pray to him. May it be so. And I'm just going to read one more poem. It's a little bit longer. It's a 2-pager. With long lines. Again, about the kids. This is about the kids that were featured in a headline on CNN, which is what caught my attention. CNN Online, presumably. I don't think this aired, but the headline is, they, being these 2 kids, they went to an abandoned home to smoke weed. Inside, they found a tiger. CNN. And the title of this is Tiger, Tiger, with a Y, like Blake's Tiger. Tiger, Tiger. Strong shit. Mind-splitting, hydroponic, pure indica, body-high, one-hit weed, grown from Hawaiian seeds in a closet in a double-wide in Maine, up near Canada. To say it unleashed the tiger is to say everything and nothing. To say that they had failed to foresee the consequences of their actions is to be complicitly young. Eve had the weed, and Adam had the papers. And they'd been having sex in fields and organ lofts and in abandoned houses. Even so, you never forget your first tiger. Nor had they dreamed it, like the Argentine writer Julio Cortázar, who imagined how it might be possible to share a living space with a wild creature, or, more to the point, how it would not be possible. The tiger claiming more and more space until the house was split in half. The parlors and the dining room and the foyer and the stairs became the tiger's. And the rest was under threat, cramped, and because the thermostat was in the half gone out of bounds, cold. So here they were, the boy and the girl, and the weed, which, though they hadn't gotten around to smoking it, when this sleek shimmer and ripple of muscle entered the room, at first they were not afraid of it. Rather, they fully expected that wherever they went, extraordinary things would follow them. And if that took the form of an emerald-eyed carnivore with a voice like a fault line, then this was only different in degree and not in kind from what they had come to feel was the new normal of their time together, both high and sober, either in public, at the movies, under the Milky Way, in the bushes, or in the dark, secret confines of a house where no one had lived for years except a tiger. There was nothing really strange about it, only that they began to fear for its care over time, sweeping out the rooms, arranging for food and medicine, should the tiger fall ill with a viral infection or suppuration from an ingrown claw. But wasn't it their tiger? They had found it. My tiger is your tiger, she had told him. Finding a forever home for a tiger is not easy, said the game warden, who took the tiger in, bathed it, and kept it in a cage for future transfer to a willing zoo where its movements would be remarked on the way that memories are, at a distance through wrought iron bars, the tiger growing listless, eyes dimmed, except on those occasions when a pair of stoned kids, holding hands and pausing before him, gaze in and recognize something familiar and full of mischief and impunity, guided by a sense of natural law, whisper a secret plan to set it free. Thank you.